Okay, thank you everybody for joining me again in today's session. Hope you guys are keeping well and everybody is healthy. Uh, Today's session is on Huawei Inverter SUN2000-100KTL-M0 inverter, which is introduced this year. I would like to give you guys a quick brief on the Huawei's portfolio. Huawei is having 194,000 employees, out of which 96,000 employees are only in R&D. You can imagine almost half of their employees are already only in R&D. They are available in 170 plus countries and regions. They are placed at 74th in Interbranch Top 100, and they are placed in 61st in Fortune Global 500. Huawei's annual revenue is increasing year on year by 19.5% since 2013. Huawei has many businesses, but majorly they are distributed in three main businesses: the carrier business group, the consumer business group, the enterprise business group. The carrier business group, as you guys know, telecom is very popular on the telecom sector, and 5G is one of their businesses now. So that is the biggest business that Huawei has. Next to that is the consumer business group, which have these mobile phones and gadgets uh, inside that business. The enterprise business group includes the solar PV business. This is the second biggest business of Huawei. Now, as I spoke of their business growth and their annual year-on-year increase in revenue, you can imagine how much bankable this company is. That has a continuous growth every year by 19.95% almost. In solar inverter business, Huawei stepped in late in 2011. They started with the Sun 2800, Sun 8000 series of inverter, which was a central inverter for utility scale project. But later on, immediately, Huawei thought that this is not something that is going to be a fashion in the new era of the fusion solar. So they started making the Sun 2000 series of string inverters and discontinued making the central inverters uh, very immediately as compared to other manufacturers. Huawei gained their reputation in the market and started leading the market from 2015 to 2018. The figures for the 2019 has still to come up to see uh, which inverter manufacturer has been the biggest supplier. But yeah, Huawei has been number one global inverter supplier by volume over the span of uh, 4 years from 15 to 18. So when Huawei stepped in the market, a lot of projects used to be done in utility scale with the central inverters. With the new trend that Huawei has set now, that trend has been changing. And by 2020, the string inverter market has captured almost 57% market share. And a lot of this has been because of the success of Huawei inverter in the market. So Huawei inverter range has residential, the commercial, and the utility scale products. In the residential, we have the single phase and the three phase, and the commercial and the utility scale, we have three phase inverters. In the utility scale project, we have uh, the medium voltage output inverters, which are used for the termination of PV system in the MV side. Before we go ahead and speak in detail about the 100 KTL inverter, which is the topic of the day, I would like to give you a quick brief about the ranges of the Huawei inverter for the commercial range. We have from 12 to 20 kilowatt inverter, which has 4 strings and 2 MPPTs. We have 36 KTL inverter, which has 4 MPPTs and 8 string input. And then we have 50 and 60 KTL inverters, which has 6 MPPTs and 12 strings. Till the date, the 60 KTL inverter has been the most popular in the CNI sector because it costs less per watt compared to the smaller sizes of the inverter. I would like to take you guys to a slide which says about the bifacial modules. Now, this is something going to be very commonly used in the future projects. By 2022, Huawei predicts that 22% market share will be captured by bifacial modules. With tracking systems, 44% of the systems will be using bifacial modules. And in the string inverter market, 60.5% of inverters will be using the bifacial modules. It doesn't make sense to use bifacial with the central inverter due to the mismatch process. So we come to the 100 KTL inverter. The nominal output power is the 100 kilowatt. The maximum apparent power is 110 kilowatt. It can provide you 110 kilowatt up to a certain temperature. The maximum input voltage is 1100 volt. Now, I would like to tell you guys that when you are designing your PV system, try to keep the open circuit voltage of your system till 1000 volt. But due to environmental factors, if the voltage increases from 1000 volt and goes up to 1100 volt, that is still within the limits of the Huawei inverter. This is true with all our Huawei commercial range of inverter. Maximum input current is 26 ampere per MPPT. So now Huawei has increased the MPPT current with the previous range of inverters from 12 to 60. You can see that they are made with the 20 ampere per MPPT. But Huawei has increased the MPPT current and the short circuit current with the new range of Huawei inverters in order to make it adaptable to the newer and higher efficient solar PV modules, especially the bifacial, because the current has been increased with the new range of the solar PV modules. MPPT with these inverter are 10, which is the highest number of MPPT in any of Huawei inverter. MPPT voltage ranges from 200 volt to 1000 volt. Now, when you are designing your PV system, normally try to keep into consideration that there is a good voltage range, which is like 450 up to 800. So when you're designing your PV system, if your string voltage size is within that range, that is a good range of PMP voltage. But in case if the voltage is just below 450 or above 800 early in the morning, still the inverter will operate, because inverter in Huawei inverter we have used a booster circuit that increases the voltage when it is low early in the morning and late in the afternoon to bring it into the full MPPT voltage range and still take energy output out of that. So yes, a Huawei inverter will benefit you with a bit of early start in the morning and late stop in the afternoon due to these higher voltage range. In communication with these inverter, we have introduced the AMBUS, which was commonly known as the PLC communication previously. The PLC communication happens through the power cables. We will speak again about it in the later slides. Regarding the RS485, this has been very commonly used in the previous inverters as well. With the protection degree, again, now we have increased the protection of the inverter to IP66. Previously, our inverter has been IP65. It has been made IP66 to make it adaptable for the flooding or the flooding PV plants. The output of this inverter comes in 480 volt, 400 and 380 volt. So we have two versions of these inverter. One is the low voltage 380 400 volt and the other version is 480 volt. Similarly, with the 60 kilowatt inverter, we have two versions, the 400 and the 480 volt. Why Huawei is making two different versions is because in many scenarios, you would be needing a small PV project getting terminated to the MV system, and you do not want to use high voltage switch gears. So you can still use the 480 volt Huawei inverter with the normal conventional switch gear available in the market, and have the benefit of the 480 volt inverter, which is better in terms of output generation, the duration, and saves you cost on the cables, because for the 480 volt, the inverter doesn't have a neutral cable requirement. Okay, so Huawei with this new inverter having 10 MPPTs gives you the benefit of less losses in terms of mismatches. As you know, in the PV system, there can be various albedos, there can be uneven ground, there can be uneven soiling even on the different segments of your PV system. Now, with these type of factors, reducing the installation output, these can increase by time if you do not use a proper machinery or a proper inverter, I would say, which can reduce the effect of such mismatches. With Huawei, on the right side, if you see the graph shown in blue and the central inverter shown in light gray color, you can see that when you're installing 100 string per MPPT with central inverter, and for an equal size of project, if you're using 2 string per MPPT design of Huawei, you are getting the benefit of 0.8 to 1% with the monofacial module per year. With the bifacial, this increases to the benefit of 1 to 2% as compared to the 100 string inverter. And similarly, as I said, such mismatches increases year on year, and over the 25-year lifespan, the bifacial modules using Huawei inverter can give you a benefit of 3 to 5% higher yield. I would like to take your concentration to the inverter bottom side. As you can see, the inverter are having 3 red switches. These are the DC switches, and you can turn on and off these DC switches at a particular time of the day when the current of the generation is just below 0.5 ampere. I am telling you guys this because most of the installation people are disconnecting it at a time of a day when the current is very high, and arcing can happen, which can damage the inverter board. Inverter AC cables get connected on the right side. The blue points which are shown are actually the DC connection points, and the small black point which you can see cable for. Okay, so Huawei uses its own patented algorithm for tracking the MPPT. It is faster compared to the available MPPT algorithms in the market. The static efficiency is 99.9% and dynamic efficiency is above 99.69%. So with this patented algorithm of Huawei, the multi-peak tracking happens faster, which is less than 200 milliseconds. And in case of any uneven generation, within short span of time occurring, maybe due to a cloud or a shadow, Huawei inverter will adapt to the new MPPT point very fast. Okay, so Huawei inverters efficiency are tested by third party, which are the neutral sources. So whatever Huawei writes about their efficiency in the data sheet and whatever has been tested by the third party are equivalent. But it has been seen with our competitors that whatever they write in their data sheet and what efficiency has been tested by the third party has a slight difference. These can vary from 0.1% up to 0.9% in cases that we have seen, but yeah, this is going to definitely give you a losses in the life cycle of the PV system, especially when you are targeting a higher size of PV plant. A 0.9% difference compared to what has been claimed is a huge difference, and then that can result into huge losses. Easy installation. The new 100 KTL inverter has been made so that it can be installed at a 15-degree angle from the horizontal surface. With the previous range of Huawei inverters, either the inverter should be installed vertically or 15 degree to the backside from the vertical angle. But with these, you have uh, the space of installing 15-degree backward from the horizontal up to 90-degree vertical. So with the more span now, especially when you are targeting floating PV plants, such angle will benefit you in terms of occupying less area. For easy carrying, Huawei can provide you optional handles. These can be used for vertical lifting or horizontal lifting. Now with the 100 KTL inverter, as I said, these are made adaptable for the bifacial, especially, uh, which can also be used with the standard monofacial PV modules. The inverter is integrated with the tracker connection, with tracker control connection. When you're using trackers, you usually have a controller that needs data from the generation point to control the angle of their bifacial modules or the single monofacial modules. In that case, Huawei has also made an input to the inverter for the controller. Uh, it is highly suitable for the bifacial. It doesn't use its no fuse because it is again made with the philosophy of two strings per MPPT, and it has high accuracy of measuring string level voltage and current, which you can monitor on your Fusion Solar platform. You see exactly what each of your string is generating in terms of voltage and current, and that can also give you an ample information that which string is abnormal and which string is normal when it is functioning. So with Huawei, you again have the MBus support remote transmission for the communication data from the inverter till the low voltage side of a transformer. You are usually recommended to use MBus when you are using smart transformer station, which Huawei can provide. Alternatively, we as a Jubaili Bros can also customize the smart transformer station and provide you this. Huawei has a latest version of IV curve diagnosis now, the IV curve diagnosis version 3, which you can use with the new 100 kTL inverter. The DC-AC ratio is a common discussion between the designers that what sort of a DC-AC ratio we can put. It depends actually on the environmental factors and the type of installation that you are doing and the angle of your PV plants normally. But an ideal DC-AC ratio can be figured out based on project. And a good DC-AC ratio is normally between 1.15 to 1.3. You can go with Huawei inverters to 1.4, and Huawei can provide you such liters that you can use. If you want to go above 1.4 DC-AC ratio, in such cases, we recommend that you have to come back to us and we can get your project verified for high DC-AC ratios from Huawei. With the Middle East, if you can see that the temperature goes up to 45.3 degrees Celsius. Now, take PV module output derating into consideration and cable losses. We recommend that you design your PV systems for 50 degrees Celsius. Reliability. So, talking about the reliability of Huawei inverters, Huawei has used high silicon chipset in the new range of inverter, the 100 KTL, and with the new versions of the inverter, the current processors will be also changed to the high silicon chipset. The operating system of the inverter is IoT OS, Light OS, which is also a patent of Huawei. And Huawei have also joint ventured on few things such as a power module for manufacturing. Huawei does comprehensive reliability testing such as the temperature test, dust test, Hall test, salt mist, solar radiation, corrosive case test, and few others. In these tests, I would like to give you a quick light about the Hall test, which is actually a high acceleration life test of the inverter. So what does Huawei do is that Huawei tests the inverter from minus 50 degrees Celsius till 90 degrees Celsius, while on the data sheet, you can see that the inverter are told to be operated from minus 25 till 60 degrees Celsius. And in the Hall test, in 1 minute, the temperature of the inverter is changed by 40 degree cycle. Within that 1 minute, the temperature is increased, then the performance is noted down, recorded, and then the inverter is turned off for three times consecutive, and again increase the temperature by 40 degrees Celsius. Again, the inverter performance is tested and turned off for three consecutive times, and again tested. So this cycle continues up to 1,000 cycles, and then again the life cycle of the inverter is being tested to see if there is any damage to the inverter. So with these sort of testings, you can imagine Huawei is making sure the reliability of the product. Huawei tells that Huawei products life cycle are from 20 to 25 years. We have such reports from third party as well, where Huawei inverter is tested by reputed DNVGL, and the inverter life cycle has been told that it is giving you 16 plus years life cycle. So which is a higher end compared to our other competitors. Again, talking of the reliability, the IP rating has been increased to IP66, which now makes it resistive against the strong jets of water, and it is totally protected against dust, which makes it okay to be used in PV plants on the lakes as well, for floating PV system. We have all our electronics compartment fully set. With the new range of Huawei 100 KTL, we are using, Huawei has used fans as well, which are placed at the bottom backside of the inverter, which takes air from the bottom end of the inverter, takes it to the backside of the inverter, and the airflow happens from the both sides of the inverter outside. Compared to it, if you have seen in the bigger projects where central inverter is used, they are using filters, and the airflow happens inside the inverter, and thus the accumulation happens and requires regular O&M, and which results to also higher failure rates if you are not doing the proper O&M. So with the innovative cooling solution that Huawei provides, you get higher availability due to the low failure rate, as I said. The airflow doesn't occur into the electronics compartment inside the inverter. It flows from the backside, makes cool the heatsink of the inverter, which is connected to the electronics part of the inverter, and make it cool. The fans used inside the new 100 KTL inverter are having a life cycle more than the inverter itself, but still it is made to be replaceable. One thing more to add about the Huawei 100 KTL fan is that once the PV system gets operated early in the morning, it uh, it revolves anti-clockwise in order to remove the dust, and then again it starts evolving in the right direction to start cooling off the inverter. Thus, it makes no O&M requirement for the fan. Again, talking of the reliability, with Huawei inverters, as it is very common with all the range of Huawei inverter, you do not need fuses. What happens in case of a fuse is that if it is inside your DC combiner and it doesn't burn when a high current flows, it can damage the inverter by temperature rise, and that temperature rise will result into a fire in your DC combiner or the inverter. With Huawei, since you do not need a fuses, so such fire hazards are eliminated. Again, with the reliability, we have a very low failure rate of our inverter. In 2014, the failure rate was 0.36 and was slightly increased to 0.42 until now. The latest figure that we have in 2018, the failure rate has been up to 0.38 in terms of global supply of our inverters. Huawei has supplied 118 gigawatt plus till the end of 2019, and we are uh, we are very sure that our inverter failure rate is less than 0.5%, which you can consider while you are simulating a system, PV system in the PV system as well. The reliability is coming out of the different kind of testing for the manufacturing, and Huawei has been testing in different real-time scenarios such as salt mist in Japan, which is a location having high salty air, hot and sandy weather, humid weathers, and rooftop installations with no shade. But such projects where you're not putting a shade on your inverter are not recommended. We would suggest that you should use shade on the top of your inverter when you're installing it outside and the inverter is exposed to the sunlight. The IV curve feature, as you know that with Huawei, we have a smart logger that connects to the router, and that the router sends data to our cloud, and you can do the monitoring either on Fusion Solar, which is the latest application, or the Natico, which was the old application for monitoring platform, or you can use a third-party platform to send the data to using our smart logger or a third-party data logger and monitor on their platform. In case of the IV curve tracing, you will need to use our smart logger, and you can do the IV curve tracing either through the Natico platform or the Fusion Solar on a click of a button sitting on your desk. Okay, with the upgraded M-bus transmission, you get the benefit of no use of RS-485 cable, which reduces the labor cost, the cable cost, the trenching and conduit cost, and thus reducing the whole PV system cost. Plus, it is highly reliable because you are transmitting the data through the power cables, which are very strong and are prone to negligible damage compared to the very narrow uh, the size of the communication cables, which are prone to damages. The M-bus communication is very fast, and the bandwidth is from 0.5 megahertz up to 12 megahertz compared to the narrowband PLC. Now, which is 9 kilohertz to 490 kilohertz. The transmission rate thus has increased, and the transmission delay has been decreased again, which gives you much benefit now in terms of using an M-bus with the new range of Huawei inverter. The IV curve tracing of Huawei has been tested by QV. Such IV curve tracing is not provided by any manufacturer in the market, which is tested by a third party. It has been deployed for 5 gigawatt plus PV projects over the globe. We recommend you to use IV curve tracing when you're owning those projects. It takes very less time. To give you an example, it takes only 15 minutes for a 100 megawatt plant size to do 100% full load diagnosis. It takes into consideration 14 different PV string faults, uh, such as front glass breakage, the current mismatch, and others. With the PV module, normally the problem is that you are kind of uh, faults which are not visible through the naked eye, and such faults are diverse short circuits, abnormal output current, open circuit string, glass breakage, and hidden crack. So these are the four major kind of failures with the PV modules, which you may not be able to test without a proper equipment or a naked eye. So it has been seen that 54, almost 55% of such failures happen due to the diverse short circuit in the junction box of your PV module. And if you do not cater such PV plants failure, that will not affect only that particular string, the decrease in generation, and that string can affect the generation of other string, and over the life cycle, that mismatch of string voltages can reduce more and more generation of your PV plant. So with the IV curve tracing, it is not only helping you to do easy O&M, but it is also giving you the benefit to increase your yield by doing regular checks on your PV strings using IV curve diagnosis, which is a premium feature for the commercial size of the inverters. But we can provide you a demo on one of your PV project cases on a special request. To give you a further brief about the IV curve benefits, so recently a project of 300 megawatt has been commissioned in Saudi Arabia by Aqua Power, which is the Sakaka 300 megawatt project. The benefit that it has given to them is $500 per megawatt per year. So this figure has been calculated by the EPC themselves. So you can imagine such benefit when you're using a 300 megawatt project and IV curve diagnosis over the span of 25 years. It is going to give you a lot of cost savings. Thank you very much. I would like you guys to show you a video of the 100 KTL inverter, the installation process, and then I will try to take your questions and I will try to answer one by one.
Installation tools. Personal protective equipment, PPE. Preparations. Site environment requirements. Mounting structure requirements. Installation angle requirements. Installation space requirements. Installing the SUN2000. Moving the solar inverter requires 4 persons or the assistance of a pallet truck. Connecting the AC output power cable. If the AC output power cable has a single core, replace the crimping module. Connecting the DC input power cable. The 3 DC switches are off. Connecting communications cables. Use a 3-hole rubber plug to connect 3 communications cables. Check before power on. The solar inverter is installed correctly and securely. The DC input power cables are connected correctly and securely. The DC switches and downstream AC switch are off. The communications cables are connected correctly and securely. The waterproof plug on the idle port is tightened. The PE cable is connected correctly and securely. The AC output power cable and the power cable of the tracking system are connected correctly and securely. The maintenance compartment interior is clean and tidy without foreign matter. The maintenance compartment door is closed and the door screws are tightened. The installation space is proper and the installation environment is clean and tidy. System power on. The app and solar inverter can be connected through a WLAN module or USB data cable.